Okay. It was interesting, Ray, to see what you'd come on with from a background perspective. We start to do your show. I thought anything could happen. I'm actually quite surprised you've gone for something as modest as you have, just like a blurred back.
Yeah.
Like something on a mountaintop.
Yeah. Next time, yeah.
It's got to happen on the tape.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Neil Pickup with you here in the mother fluffing house, and I am looking forward to this one. For those who were regular viewers of the channel, you'll know that the Deep Inside series focuses on some of the most interesting, best, charismatic arm wrestlers in the world. And the man I'm going to speak to over these next series of shows ticks a great deal of boxes in a great deal of areas. It's Raimonds Liepins, ladies and gentlemen, from Voice of Armwrestling. Mate, welcome to the mother fluffing show. I'm buzzing to have you on here.
Good to be here. We finally did this.
So how long have we been talking about this? Ages. Absolute ages. So, and also, there's a sense of familiarity here, mate, because obviously with the fix and stuff, it's great that to finally get you on them, so people can know about you, because you're the guy that's telling everyone about other people.
Yeah. You know? Kinda, yeah. Now I'm on Neil's dick.
Any dicks. Hey, God bless you for that.
Kevin, John.
Not a problem. There they are. Coming in, not a problem, mate, not a problem. And we were just talking before we went on air, how's life in Latvia? If COVID has finally landed with a bang.
We found it.
There it is.
Yeah, we didn't know it was here, but it is, so,
And you were saying, what, like 200 cases a day now there?
Yeah, close to 200 every day. We'll manage, yeah. We'll see.
So I'm just getting myself on a bit of a comfy seat here, mate, and settling in, because we're gonna run the history of Coach Ray, and let's take it way back, mate, to your childhood days. So school time, Ray, and you give us a dateline check where you want to walk into this thing at, mate. What sort of age did it all start for you?
So I was born in 1990. So I grew up in a small village outside. So Riga is capital. That's where I'm here right now. So I live here. It's about 70, 80 kilometers outside. So the place where I grew up, there was nothing. So there just like small village with nothing. So to think about that, my life has turned into the sport. Like all my life is a professional sport or just combined with sport. It's something like I would never believe, because I always was the smallest kid. Like any school I went to, I was the smallest or second smallest. So I'm like, okay, so I will not play basketball. So, okay, so I'm not pretty good at team sports. So no volleyball, no football. So everything you can play outside, I'm like, nah, gone. So I was in this school, so up until I was 16 when I finished my primary school. So we had nothing, no chances for any kind of sports. But I loved the sports. So my grandfather, he was a runner in Soviet Union when Latvia was part of Soviet Union. So he was deep into the sport. So I watched every kind of sport there is, whatever was on the TV. So we would sit and watch. Ice hockey is very big in Latvia. We love ice hockey. And again, you need to go and train for ice hockey. So that dream sailed away and everything else.
Latvia, one of the top Olympic teams, aren't we?
Yeah. We're very proud of our ice hockey team. It's top level, like elite since 1996 in elite class. So whatever I wanted to do, there was basically no chance. So the school years, we were playing sports outside. We were active, but there was nothing, nothing that I would, looking back, I'm like, no way, no way I have done things that I have done now.
At school, When you say, I just want to just point out the fact that you talked about yourself being the smallest kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for people that don't know you, that aren't familiar with you personally, how big are you now, mate? Just give your height and weight.
Right now I'm 90 kilos. I'm the biggest I have ever been. So, but most of the time I have been 75 kilos, and I'm 1.70 meters. I don't know how much that is in feet.
5'7",
5'7", 5', something like that.
There or thereabouts. When you were at school, were you athletically gifted despite the size? So you're saying that physically you were the smallest kid. Were you quite an active, quite a fast kid, well coordinated?
It's hard to tell looking back at that. I would say no, but maybe I was, because I was one of the best in our class. One of the best in the region at some at some running events, something like that. But I was a smart kid. I loved problem solving and things like that. So, I wouldn't say I was athletic. Looking back, little scrawny kid.
Okay.
So I finished the primary school, and we have option. I don't know how it's. I will try to say best in English. We have professional colleges.
Yes. So, yeah.
4 years and you get profession at the end. So it's like you don't go to high school, you go to professional college. 2 years of high school, 2 years of professional, something like that.
Yeah, so that it's very much a vocational college. It's based around what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I finished primary school and I went to Riga Technical College, and right where there was summer in between, I was working some construction job, something like that, and I had my appendix surgery. And so I went into the school, like I'm going to be a programmer, computer programmer. They're giving us the tour of the school and everything. Gym. So there's a huge gym that you can use. So 3 times a week you can go and train in a gym. And I cannot even go to the sports classes because of my appendix surgery. And I'm thinking like, I want to try, I never lifted weights. I just want it, I always was into superheroes, everything else, and action movies. And, it's hard to think that you might be a hero when you don't look like one. And I'd always thought the gym might give me that, So, before I even get to the classes, I start going to the gym, and it was a love at first sight. Like, I never felt better anywhere. And I will spend my 4 years right there. So I believe gym gave me most of the base that is me, because I understand that by working hard and by doing things, you can achieve things. You can, like, from working hard, you can get where you want to get. So I think that's a very big part of it, when you understand the road you need to take. So with the gym, there's like the big part of my high school was the gym, because I lived there. I just like the year when I started to go there, I weighed 57 kilos, nothing, nothing on me.
And how old were you at that point, mate?
16 years old. I was 16.
You weighed
or maybe 17, maybe 16, 17, something like that. But, I was small, but I loved it. And, you go in a gym and you don't know anything to do. So I'm looking what the guys are doing and I'm writing things down. So at some point I was doing 3-hour sessions with 25 exercises, basically doing every exercise I know of that you can do 3 times a week. And I just keep going and going and going. At the end of the year, I think I gained about 8 kilos. I noticed that my bench press was very good. At that year, I was first introduced to armwrestling. So there was table and there was competition between schools. And my best friend till this day, Rudolph, he was the one who got me into the sport, but he showed me the first stuff on table before competitions. And the guy
was Rudolph a puller then? What did you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the guy that I saw and I was amazed with was Oskars Balgaus. I think you know Oskars.
Yeah.
He was right at the start, I was junior prime. He was so it was him and miles ahead of everyone else. And I was so amazed, and I thought, like, how is this even possible? So I kind of liked arm wrestling, but not really, because I was still learning stuff. So I think I spent all the summer, because in the summer I couldn't go to the gym, so I'm training at home. Web was very new, internet was very new, so you cannot find a lot of stuff that you can find now. So everything's very limited. So I'm looking at stuff, thinking about workouts and writing things down and thinking about this, and next year starts and I have a better plan. I know what to do and how to work out, and I started doing these things. And somehow, slowly, I get into arm wrestling more and more, because my friend Rudolph wants to arm wrestle with someone, no one to arm wrestle. I arm wrestle with him, but I don't compete. I just, I bench press. I notice I'm bench pressing close to national records already, so I'm going to go with this path.
How did you meet Rudolph, mate? Two questions here, because you talked about the diligence thing, and I just want to pick up on this.
Yeah.
When you were training, okay, and you were doing your 3 times a week, 25 exercises in the gym, who were you training with?
No one. Yeah.
That's ace.
Yeah.
That's ace. I'll tell you what, mate, that takes bollocks. Because that is hard as hell. To stay motivated, to train with no one.
Oh man, I'm still a madman, but I would say I was mad even then, because I was so in love with the process, and you see results and you get the confidence. You are stronger, you are bigger. So, like the gym, the working in the gym and the working out, like when you feel you get stronger, and I notice I can bench press more than anyone. I'm like, there is something here, So the bench press competition goes on till now, and I still compete. And at one point, I think very early, I understand, I was like, okay, so it doesn't matter if I'm the biggest. It matters if I'm the strongest. So that's the idea I'm going to pursue. I will not think about how my abs look. I will not think about how big my biceps is. All I care is to kick your ass in competition. When you see this small guy come in and kick everyone away, that's me. That was my full focus. And I was like religious, like 3:00. I'm like in the middle of something to do. I got to go train. First one in, last one out each time. And absolutely loved it. And then think that was the real start for me. With Rudolph was just like, he was always lost. He's like, what should I do in the session? Like, what should I do? And we start talking, and he trains a little with me, then he trains alone, then we mix like this, and we have similar interests, and somehow blossomed in the best friendship I have. And, so the second year, I somehow managed to get on, school's arm wrestling team. I think I beat everyone in competition there. So, okay, this gives me some confidence.
I love that there are schools arm wrestling team.
Yeah.
That is ace.
And it was like, we had like for each class you have 2 spots, and it was 8 guys that want to get in those spots. And it was like some of the Latvian guys that are competing now were on that team. Like some of the guys that are still active were on that team. Like our school was we were at one European championship, there were 5 people from my school, competing on the highest level. So the level was very high, and everyone was very interested in getting better and better and better and stronger. So, the point where I understand that I could be competing in arm wrestling, I think came in a second year. At the end of the second year, in the middle of the winter, Rudolph comes to my room and he's like, "Man, I got a competition on Saturday." I think it was Monday. He's like, "Would you come with me?" I said, "I don't want to go, because I know I cannot do anything with his right arm, and we're the same weight." But he's like, "They will do left too." I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Okay, let's go," because my left is much better than his ever. And we went there, and they were doing like double system. So it's not each arm separately, but if you're first place with your right arm, that's 1 point, and fifth with your left arm, that's 6 points together, and something like that. And the lowest weight goes higher than the heavier guys. So that was the system at the time. And I think I got second and fourth with my, second with left and fourth with my right. Rudolph got first and seventh. And he didn't get the top 3, and I got in the top 3. And I'm driving home. He drives me home. I'm like, you must be angry with me right now. He's like, no, I'm happy. And at that point, I'm like, even though my right isn't as good, I said, maybe my left is. And I think that was the point where I started to go to competition, started to look up arm wrestling, started to do some more training, some more pull-ups, because training stuff, I really didn't know anything. So, at the start of the second year, before this even conspired, I need to talk about one big thing, it's the steroids. So, I reached the point where I come back from the summer, and for 2 months, I cannot press more than 100 kilos. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's going on? And we have, now it's Facebook, before that was MySpace, and we have friends.lv, site for life. And there are some guys questions, and they answer questions about training and stuff. Right, I'm benching for 2 months. I cannot get past 100 kilos. And they're like, you reach your genetic maximum. That's it. Without steroids, you will never lift more. So I'm like, what does that mean? So I'm looking, what does genetic maximum means? What's steroids? I'm looking, I'm like, this is illegal. I'm like, oh, needles involved. I don't feel like it. So from going from steroids, I go to supplements. In supplements, I'm like, okay, so this is legal, this is illegal. Okay, supplements, what's creatine? Okay, so I'm like, maybe before I think about stuff like that, I should take some creatine. I take creatine, the basic supplement. I get some multivitamins, everything, Before that, I didn't do anything with that. So I get that. 2 months later, 115 kilos. I think I ended the year with 130 kilos when I was weighing 70 kilos.
That's a mega bench, mate.
I went back to that forum and I'm like, fuck you. Sorry. I'm like, all you guys have never achieved anything and you're just looking for an easy way out. And I think that was the best lesson I have ever gotten. That put me in position where I have to think about myself, where no one is influencing me to do something, where I'm like, is this true? Can you really reach that? And I think this is I have created drug-free arm wrestling, drug-free powerlifting. Yep. That's all me. You will come to our gym. You can do what you want to do, but we will never say that's fine, that's cool. No. I really believe you can achieve everything. I have seen guys doing incredible things that some people still don't believe it's possible. Because
one thing that's pissed me off my entire career, Ray, is that people have constantly and have said to me that you cannot be the WAF World Arm Wrestling Champion without steroids. Now, I'm not judging people on, it's up to them. Everybody does their own thing. But what I'm going to say is this. Bullshit. Yes, you can.
Yeah, of course you can.
And it's not there for argument. I know you can.
Yeah.
Because I
exactly.
did it.
Yeah.
End off. Yeah. It's as simple as that. It's done. You know? Now, there's other guys that I believe have done it without steroids.
I know those guys. I really, I know you. I can say, guys I can vouch for. Mindaugas, Yanis, Vlad. I would even say, it's hard to win Zloty, heavyweights, or something above 95 without. Sanders did it. He's 100% clean. I know he did. He just had an amazing day. That's a big difference. You invest yourself, you train hard, and then someone tries to take that all away because they're pussies. They are not willing to work hard. They don't, I look at most things as problem solving. There's a problem why you are not here. Can you understand why is that? If you don't understand, you keep ignoring that, all the other stuff doesn't matter. So a lot of guys will say I take the stuff and I still can't beat Giannis. He must be on something. No, you're just weaker. Well, have you seen how that guy works out?
It's as simple as this. You need to, there is a situation that is apparent in life where not all men are created the same. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's strength sport, it's an athletic discipline, or something else. There are people that are they have a predisposition to be able to do that better. If you then combine that with enough dedicated effort, they can become something special. And it levels the playing field. I'm not saying that there is no advantage with steroids. There's an enormous advantage with taking performance-enhancing drugs. But not everyone that has achieved that does it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One famous example within the world of professional strongman that I often hear cited is Iron Bibi. And Iron Bibi is a complete weirdo. Do I believe that he's natural? Actually, yeah, I probably do. I do think Iron Bibi is natural. But that dude was put on this earth for a higher purpose. Because he is a phenomenon of strength. Just a weirdo. And they're out there. Those guys are out there. So I think it's important that you judge each person. The point that I made with you a moment ago, why I found that and why I do find that so impressive, is because anybody who's ever trained, I shouldn't say anybody, but a lot of people that have ever trained will appreciate that going into a gym on your own, it's a damn sight harder than going in there with a team of people that are pushing you on and training with you. It's a lot harder. Yeah. It takes more effort. It takes more discipline. It's commendable, mate. And the fact that you did that and do that, mega. My hat's off. Awesome.
Really, I'm a man of purpose. I need to put you give me a date. That's what I live for, that date. So if it's a competition, it's a match, something like that, we have talked with Giannis, when there's nothing to do, we are at our worst. We're at our laziest. So we give ourselves some kind of purpose, So, getting back so I was introduced on second year of school in real arm wrestling, and I went to first competitions at that point. And I think at third year, spent my whole summer training and I remember that day when I was going through we have a big bridge before our school, and I'm going over that bridge and I'm thinking I'm going to train so hard all summer. I will come back and I will beat Oscars. And, of course, it was impossible at that time, but, I remember thinking that, and, I love training. I really love everything it did. And at third year, I was introduced to, I went to real competitions, not small local ones, but Rig Open and Nationals. And, and at third, I went to Nationals. So at that point, Latvian arm wrestling was, just pros. There's few classes and pro. My first match on my first national championship was against Jānis Amoliņš, with, at that point, reigning world champion. And I remember I felt so helpless. I think I got one victory with one arm and something like that. And at that point I was winning some local tournaments, and you feel strong, and then someone just puts you down. Guys are now looking for the novice classes, amateur classes, and it's good. It's good for growing. But, don't be scared of that big challenge ahead of you. That big challenge will push you miles ahead. If we would have novice class, I would still be focusing on that novice class. I would be focusing on those guys. Like Giannis, I know where Giannis, I'm going after that. I think next year I came in second place, and it was starting all this arm wrestling for me. So the school time, it was gym time for me, and the gym where I went to is the gym I train now. I will get back to that story right now, but the gym that I started is my gym right now. So that's the kind of fun part and full circle, if you would say so. So yeah, it was very, it was good experience for me, training, developing arm wrestling, powerlifting. So I finished school, and I'm thinking, at the end of the fourth year, I have I'm training alone, but I'm training 10 guys. From my class, and guys I know, they come in, they're Raimonds, what should we do? And I give them what to do. So I'm I guess I'm pretty good at that, so I should be a coach or something, So I look in, there's Latvian Academy of Sports Science, bachelor degree. I'm like, okay, for powerlifting coach, perfect. I'm going to go there. So being me, I somehow messed up the dates where you need to sign up, and I had to skip a year. But that year that I skipped, I understood, like, I saw the classes that they're going to teach. So I'm learning anatomy. I'm learning biomechanics, like at home, working in the worst job possible, security guard at the nightclub, and I'm still learning, training, going to all the armasting competition there was. And so I think that year, even though I felt like a disappointment because everyone went to their universities and things like that, and you're basically sitting at home, and I'm like, I don't feel like I should be the person who should be sitting at home, but I spent that time by learning, by doing extra stuff. I went to every competition there was, competed everywhere I could. I think I competed total of 30 competitions that year. So at the middle of the year, Zhana Chingulu created her armwrestling league, and so this was a big point for me. So she created the armwrestling league where you need to qualify, and there's big final. So I qualified, I think 2 or 3 times, and then I went for a final. And again, they're doing 2-arm system. So if you win with one, blah, 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 doesn't matter. You still need to play stop. I think I was second and third and got second place in total. Oh no, I was first and third. Yeah. And, after this competition, I go back home. Week goes by. I have a phone call. I'm answering. I'm like, hello. And it's Jan Samolich. So me and Janis, have been introduced, but not really. And he's like, hi Raimonds. So maybe you want to come with us to Sweden to Flen competition. And I said, okay, so I'm starting school next week. When is it? It's a month away. So he says, like, come train with me, like in his gym at that point where it was. And, so I start training. Like, that was my first time.
Were you very familiar with Yanis in terms of?
Yeah, I know.
You knew him.
Yeah. I knew he was the man. And I was like, why is he calling me?
Yeah.
But, we train. He showed me stuff and, gave me basics of training, and my arms have never been this sore. Until this day, have never been more sore than at that point. For 2 weeks, I can't hold, like, grocery bags. It was just awful. So we train with Janis for a month. We go to Sweden. My first time outside Latvia for competition. I'm very happy. They have many different qualifiers for, like, novice 1, novice 3, amateur 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. And I go there and I'm like, I would say I'm novice. Like, Jans, nah, you pro. I said, no, I'm maybe amateur. She's like, no, you're pro. So they didn't let me go anywhere else but pro. I got there, and again, I think it put me in my place. I got third place with left arm and fourth with right arm. Was good competition for me. It was a good trip. We talked with Giannis, and he, like, all the way training up with it. He's like, so I'm starting to be a coach like you. He's a physiotherapist, also a coach. I'm like, okay, so yeah. So about 3 weeks go by. We get back to Latvia. I get a call from Giannis. Giannis calls me, and I think this was most impactful moment of my life, because he calls me and says, so at my, like, the city where Jans lives, Salisbury, they created a system where guys that go to Salisbury sports school, they can go to arm wrestling practice. Like, it's in a sports school system. Jans have created this. And he calls me and he says, like, I cannot manage to do this and that. Maybe you want to coach them. And I think I'm like, yes. I mean, like, yes. They paid so little money there, but I don't care. I'm like, yes, I'm all for that. Like, we finished the call, and straight away I go to the office of the school and I say, can you change that? I want to be not powerlifting head coach, but arm wrestling head coach. and they changed it right away. I gave them all the papers. They asked me why would I want to change, and I said like, powerlifting community, even they're fine, but they have never been this inviting to someone. I don't know what Giannis saw in me at that point, and I'm still very surprised that he saw that, but he gave me the call, and I started working there, and like that was the moment where I turned my back to basically all the powerlifting stuff. I went into arm wrestling, and I think this is why we are here right now. I think Rudolph's got me in competition, but Giannis got me to be a coach. And like,
I wanna just stop you there and go into a little bit for people in other countries, just because, just the fact that you have got arm wrestling, the recognition of arm wrestling as a serious sport or a serious sporting pursuit in Latvia, the fact that you can become an arm wrestling coach, and be paid to do that.
Yeah.
For the people in the United States of America, in the UK, in Canada, in so many countries around the world, will be amazed by that. Just give me a little bit of background in terms of Latvia and how long has arm wrestling been recognised in that manner, Ray?
Like the big part of that is Jānis, Normunds, Žana. They've been doing all this. So like the school system, it was there was the previous president before Normunds of the federation was doing that, and he got it madness. If maybe you remember him, he was going with Jānis to all the competitions at one point, but he was before my time. So they get in there and they created the system where school is giving extracurricular activities to the kids, and it was a big group. It was 20 people, but like I have a bachelor degree in sports science, and it says head coach of arm wrestling and manager at sports. So I have two, basically it's one degree, but two professions there. And again, it was because we had people.
Maybe the coolest thing ever.
It's pretty cool, mate. I'm not going to lie, that's up there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. And, so you go there and so we had people who were into arm wrestling, working at the highest university academy, and so they helped us with this because like they have powerlifting, they have kettlebell sport, fitness, bodybuilding. I'm like, arm wrestling should be there too. So they did that.
Is strength sport like culturally, ingrained in the fibre of Latvia a little bit? Is it do you get the nod of the head when people find out you're an arm wrestler? Or are they like, oh, cool, arm wrestling? Or are they like, arm wrestling? Is that a thing? How's that?
I would say. Before I got really into federation, they would say, is arm wrestling really a thing? Now everyone sees a table, they know what that is. It's social media, us, like we have superstars too, but arm wrestling, it's not as big in Latvia as I want it to be. We are recognizable, we are hardworking, and right people understand that.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone understands that. Many people still think it's they just arm wrestle, it's nothing, And then someone comes and I try and explain to them, and it's like rocket science. I'm like,
Yeah, it blows their head up.
Yeah, arm wrestling is hard, and we are very happy that we have this, they put this in a school system, where you have bachelor degree in this. And it was, everyone had their, associate or professor who works with you. And I didn't have one because my guy left at the second year. So I'm like, and they asked me, Raimonds, maybe you need someone to come in. I'm like, nah, I already know too much, and I'm good with this. If you need me to help with something, I will do that. So, the time when some guys were going, they had powerlifting, they're doing powerlifting stuff. I was in the library reading stuff up. So, the school time, my first year, I was already knowing stuff 3 years ahead of everyone. It was very easy for me. When you go to sports science, for us at least, we have every sport. So volleyball, basketball, every sport, every major sport. So you have to qualify in them. So we learned that, but extra there was anatomy, dynamic anatomy, biomechanics, and I love that stuff. And I'm like, this is arm wrestling, you know. If you look at most things, this is arm wrestling. And I think that's the big difference between me, Giannis, and educated people in a anatomy. Because a lot of guys, and I have seen this so many times, that are super good at arm wrestling cannot explain what they are doing. They cannot explain how it works. They don't understand it on that level. And it's fine. Really good. But I believe that, like, don't look at arm wrestling as simple. If you want to get better at it, open anatomy book, dynamic anatomy book, learn about biomechanics, and you will be better arm wrestler. Because it's all about that. It's all about that. And like after that call that Giannis gave me about the class, I thought like, I cannot be a like bad or shitty coach. I want to be the best coach I can. So I had the greatest opportunity ever. I had 20 plus kids from 14 up to 17, 18 years old. I can experiment. I know what Jan is doing. I have my own stuff and I'm changing, and I think we did so many different variations. And if I look at some of the oldest workouts I'm giving, I'm like, man, this will never work, but somehow it worked, and somehow we evolved this into my system, because we have Latvian system that's very similar with me and Giannis, because I was influenced by him, but it's my and his is a little bit different, and so in some, but it's very close, and we still, like, we train together. Like, COVID started, me and Giannis trains together, and that's another whole story that we will get to, but like, I experimented on those kids, and nothing bad, but, you know, and everyone loved it. The training sessions were so good. I loved it. Like, the money the school paid me, it was like I spent a half traveling from Riga to Salaspils.
How were you charting the sort of success of the experiments? Were you just looking at strength gain, or were you looking at competitive success? What was the sort of gauge?
It was strength gain. We did the tests. We checked like how much you can do on some specific exercise. Okay. Then we checked like how good guys competed, because the guys that at start, there was one guy that was super good, amazing good, Kaspars Grāvis. One of my first guys that I started. Kaspars is one of my all-time favorite people, and he like, I remember, like, I get back from Flen, 1 week later there's competition, and I get to this competition, my arm is blown up, I feel nothing. Kaspars was, I think, 14 years old or 15, something like that. I get to the final, and Kaspars somehow manages beat everyone, flashes everyone, gets in the final with me. We have the match start, and I cannot do anything. I can just hold, and he gets me in position. And it's a 2-minute match where I'm holding, and I cannot do anything, and I'm waiting for him to tire out. 3 weeks later, I'm his coach. And he had all the respect in the world for me, and which I was like, looking back, he could have bad attitude, you know, some like, what do you know, or something like that. Yeah. But they understand that I was very honest with them. I said, I don't know anything. We're going to work out to be the best we can. And, Kaspars was loving the training. He did everything, and the guys were going to competition. But, the single biggest thing that Kaspars has done in arm wrestling world was give me a call and tell me like, hey, I have this dude in my class. He's good. Can he come to training? And he brings Vladislaw. He brings in Vlad.
Yeah.
And
Vlad the Destroyer Shield.
And Vlad comes at the end of 2011. At the end of 2011, last month. So right before Christmas holidays. So Vladislav cannot beat anyone. Like, we have so, like, different levels of guys. Everyone smashes him for a month. And he was not really good kid. You know, he had problems at school. He was smoking and drinking, and he's 16 years old at that point. And, Vladislav's, oh no, he was even younger. I think 14 years old. Yeah, but he comes back after the summer, like, holidays. And he's different. He's been living in arm wrestling bubble. He's been like, the arms are, he beats everyone up until me and Kaspars. And we're like, wow. And this is good. So So I'm doing a lot of stuff with these kids. We're working out. We're thinking about like what do we want to achieve.
What were you doing, Ray? What? Give me an indication of the type of exercises. Were they very specific to arm wrestling? Are we talking pronation, supination? Are we talking just broadly carryover? So hammer curl. What kind of?
So like we have like no hooks, no hook. Everyone was top roller. Everyone there was top roller because Giannis explained to me he's like you want them to be good technical and to understand a lot of technical aspects. Show them top roll. So I said like top roll, but if you get in position, you know how to win. So the small gym we had was like I think like two of these rooms. I bigger than the gym we had, you know. And very limited equipment, but I knew like the basics. So we're gonna do base. That's like for next month we're gonna work on our base. We will do very little of specific exercises. Then we carry over and we go like this. I know about periodization. I learned about all of that, and I seen how Giannis do it, and so it was base, building them strong, building them healthy. We did a lot of different stuff. Like the worst part, and everyone knew this, was if there was competition, you come to the training on Monday, you know it's going to be hell. Because, like my at that point now, I'm a little bit better at managing it, but at that point I know like you can climb as high as you can, you're always going to fall. So if there's competition, we already climbed, we need to bring everyone down. So the next training was so hard for everyone. I gave them just like incredibly silly things to do, you know, just like you're going to hold yourself in position for 30 seconds and then you rest and you're going to do another for a minute and things like that. And guys but everyone just keep progressing. They're kids, they trust me, and I think the big part, doesn't matter what kind of training plan you're doing, if you're trusting the training plan, you will get better. And
sure.
And no one trusts me more than Vlad. He's like, I took him to his first competition. He got second place. I still remember we're sitting at the table. We're eating afterwards. Me, Kaspars, Vlad, and my mother was there. And Vlad is just looking at his medal, and he feels so proud of that medal. And he looks at me, and my mom says,
"Awesome."
She calls me. She's like, "That kid, he just looks in your mouth. Like everything you say is gold to him."
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think from that, like the trust and everything we built, and we went over. So next year we get nationals, everything else. Kaspars and Vlad same category, so Kaspars is stronger. He goes up, Vlad stays down. We go to 2013. Before even winning his national title in juniors, Vladislaw won world championship. So like at the 2013, like Raimonds gives me a call and he says, "Raimonds, you're very interested in developing Sport of Armwrestling, as I can see. Would you want to be in federation?" I said, "Yeah, I can be. I'm going to help with everything." So in 2013, I became vice president of federation. I did everything: refereeing, coaching, making events, everything. From doing nothing of that, I did everything. And it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to do this. No, I wanted to do this. I wanted to see how the wheels are working. I wanted to understand what can we do better. I started filming competition. I started filming, putting it on YouTube so we can find it. We did a lot of stuff in that year. But I remember before Europeans, we were going to Europeans, and I said, like, my guys are very good. We get a shitty car. It was in Lithuania. We're driving to Lithuania, and we're staying there. And I'm new. Guys are 16 years old, all the team. Then the big guys come, and at Europeans, Kaspars got third place, or maybe 2 third places. I can forget about that. But in juniors, and Vlad got food poisoning, and he was super good. He was 65. He got food poisoning and 2 fourth places, and he was so crushed. So we came back. I had a call from Jean Chingo. She asked me maybe I want to work in one fitness center. So I started to go to, like, armasting coaching with my guys and also in this club. So I have 2 places where I'm basically every day. And from there, you start working with clients and you slowly, and I feel like I have no energy going to sell spills. So I talked with guys. I told them, like, guys, I really cannot manage this,
How far is spills away, mate?
By train, it's about 30 minutes,
Okay.
Something like that. But it was like from by train 30 minutes, but to get to the train it was another hour for me.
Turns out a 2-hour trip and
So I talked to guys, I told them about the situation, and I said I'm sorry, and we got some guy that's gonna substitute me, and unfortunately it didn't work out. It lasted about a year after I left, and it just didn't. We tried our best, but it didn't. But I get into this fitness club and I talk to the managers and owners. I said, can these 2 guys come with me, train for free? They will represent you in world championships next year. And they allowed me, and Kaspars and Vladislaw were training together, and we prepared like hell for the worlds. Vlad got, I think, 3rd place. And Kaspars got 3rd place and Vladislaw won. And like, sorry. Yeah, that's the finger of.
That's the one.
Yeah, yeah. But so before competition, I talked with everyone in Latvia, and they said like, yeah, Kaspars is good. I said, yeah, Kaspars is good, but I'm like, I really cannot do anything with Vlad for now. Like, I cannot touch his right arm, and he's 16 years old, and I was like 24, and he's just like, I cannot. And they're like, yeah, maybe, but I don't think he's that good and things like that. And he just smashes everyone, beats everyone in the center. And I remember I played the biggest trick that I can, because they see the tables, and everything, who's fighting who, but they don't know how to read it. So we're standing there, and I see like he has a match for getting in final. And I'm like, hey, if you beat this guy, you will get top 3. You will get the medals. You get for going in the final. He goes, smashes. He comes back and he's ready more. I'm like, no, you get in the final. That's done. And he was like, oh, cannot believe it. It was like at that point the highlight of my life. I invested so much. I spend my money. I spend my time. I spend my nerves. If you can find some old footage from 2013. Whenever there's Latvian on the table, you can hear me screaming. I'm so invested.
So heavily invested in that moment. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Worse than when you were pulling, in it. It's like,
my pulling doesn't even matter. Like when Janis gave me that call, I knew I was like athlete, coach here. So I made my choices and I live by them. And I know I spent too much energy, and I know, but like, that's me. Like, you're telling me not to be me. And whenever I need to pull, I have no energy left. I have nothing left. Like, we go back from hotel, everyone's like after party, and I'm like sleep. So I'm
totally emotionally blasted.
Yeah. You feel so drained because like you feel everything. You just feel everything. And like I remember I came back, I was so proud. I was 2nd year student. I had already coached from nothing, world champion at one of the hardest sports on the planet. Mm-hmm. If anyone disagrees with me, try to be world champion.
Yeah, come have a go.
Even at juniors. Yeah, come on, guys. Go ahead.
Have a go. Give it a shot. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, and I remember I felt like this was some kind of turning point of my life, because I felt like, yeah, we did it. 2014 came. It wasn't the best year for us. It's harder to maintain than to win. And there was a lot of things going on with me. I have to change some stuff in my life, moving and things like that. But 2014 wasn't the best year for me, I would say like that. But we did a lot of things. I created coaching system for referees. Like Oleg Gantimuros is now one of the best referees on the planet. he gave me a call and asked me, Raimonds, I'm a shitty arm wrestler. Can I at least referee? I said, please do. And we start learning and we start doing things. Yeah. And 2014, I get a call from Giannis. Giannis calls me. He's like, hey, so Neil asked me, would we want to go to Arm Wars? He's like, and maybe you want to pull someone. I said, yeah, I can pull anyone. He's like, how about Jeff Hale? I'm like, my left is strong. I will pull Jeff Hale. So, but it didn't happen because Jeff couldn't come. I went to Arm Wars. It was amazing experience. And maybe you will put out my matches, which were silly. I know they were silly because it was a little bit of a mismatch. I was a little bit stronger than some guys anticipated, I think. But yeah, Arm Wars was the highlight of 2014 for me.
Who did you end up pulling that year, mate?
Nigel.
Yeah, was it Nigel Riley?
Yeah, with right arm, and Daniel Moshier with left arm.
Yeah, the motion.
Yeah, Daniel Moshier. Yeah, and I felt so strong with my left arm. I'm like, give me anyone. And Giannis, you wanted to give me Glenn. But Giannis, give me Glenn, please. Let me pull Glenn. And I know that was a good match. I'm like, okay, let them pull. But I felt so strong. I remember after party we were pulling with Michael Todd and Jordan Seal and drinking till the morning with Birmingham Bullet.
Yeah,
Greg's son. Yeah.
2014.
Yeah, that was highlight. I loved Arm Wars. Like I said in the video, man, I loved Arm Wars. Arm Wars was the pinnacle. I think if he comes back, stronger than ever, more support than ever. Yeah. So
I do believe we're going to do a show in the net, and for sure you will be involved in that, mate. If we do that, we're targeting Arnold Classic. That's where we're looking at 2021 Arnold Classic back end of next year. Yeah, we want to do something.
No COVID, please. No COVID. No more. No.
Yeah, well, that's it. We don't. We're hopefully, touch wood, we can get past this bloody thing and get some arm wrestling going again. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just noticed the clock, and we are at 50 minutes plus of this first episode with Coach Ray. And mate, that has flown. I really, really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. It was absolutely fascinating. I think the most fascinating thing in all of that for me is just the relationship between the sort of anatomy, the anatomical coaching stuff, and how that transfers over. I would love to learn some of that stuff, mate. I would love to, at some point, just understand that, get you to sort of break down some bits for me and learn a little bit of that. It'd be fantastic. I think it sounds great. If I ever was motivated to get back into the sport, I'd love to do that. Just experiment and look about and see what it could be achieved. Fascinating.
Arm wrestling is super complicated, but when we tear down, we're just leverages, leverage points, things like that. And I think if I very, very soon understand that, from perspectives, and I think it took me 6 years to really understand that. Now I feel I know much, at every point of my success, I felt I knew everything. And then 3 months later, I didn't know shit. And I feel, and now I feel like, what I gonna learn next? What's gonna happen next, because everyone gets a little bit arrogant, and I have been at some point too, but you need to stay everyone you meet maybe knows something you don't,
True.
And when with any arm wrestler, doesn't matter how you look at them, there's something you might learn. Yeah.
100%, mate. Fascinating, Ray. I've absolutely loved it, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first visit to Supernatural Strength Channel, where the f*** have you been?
Yeah, man, come on.
Should have been here before. What is going on? Don't you know? Tell you what, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, this is your first visit. And if you like this guy, Raimonds Liepins is also a member of the Fix. He's one of our resident hosts and presenters there. So if you haven't checked out the Fix, go check that out there, and you'll get a lot more comment from this young man. Now, the other thing is as well, Raimonds has his own channel, the Voice, the Rolly Royce of arm wrestling. Yeah, get over to Voice of Armwrestling.
You go there and you look at the few of the last video. I don't know when this is gonna drop, but look at the videos. There's Neil Pickup, brief history of Neil Pickup. You're gonna love it.
Oh, we haven't even discussed that, mate. I didn't even say it. Thanks so much, Ray. I'm honoured and flattered that I made the cut for anybody you guys talk about, and that's lovely. Thank you very much.
I think you needed this, like, as I said, they will overlook how spectacular arm wrestler you were, how much you invested to becoming world level arm wrestler, and that gives you, like, from any other fan, you have been there, done that, you have been in those matches, you know how it's going on, that makes you amazing commentator. Like any arm wrestling match, Neil should be commenting. No one else is coming near. And I mean everything I said there. Eric Rosin helped me with the facts, as you know. He's like the gold for our community. The armwrestlingarchives.com needs more exposure than it has, you know. Yeah, everyone should go there.
Gem. He's an absolute gem. I love the bloke. So articulate as well. We do a show with Eric, as you know, and it's amazing. I absolutely love. I can just listen to Eric all night. I really can. You know, he's ace. Yeah. So much valuable information for any fan of arm wrestling.
Me and him, because I said I need your help. He's like, no problem. So we're working on.
You're like,
this Neil's 175 years old.
I wanted to find some of those old footage, but I couldn't anywhere on the web. Like, I would love to see you pulling a 1987 at over the top or so much good arm wrestling is still lost. Yeah.
All of my career where I was any good at arm wrestling, there's no footage. It's some bit of a Gary Roberts has started the sport. This was funny because they say, "Oh, Gary, you go way back. You started the sport in 2003, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I'd already had 2 joint operations. But by the time that Gary had my joint rebuilt twice when Gary started arm wrestling. So it's one of those things though, but I'll tell you what, mate, golden times, absolutely golden times. We've had so much good fun over the years, and I'm so enthusiastic about the sport now, and I know you are. And what's really lovely to see, Ray, is that a guy as committed, as focused, and as dedicated as you clearly are, has taken such a love of our sport, of the sport of arm wrestling, because it's for everyone involved in the sport of arm wrestling, it's genuinely a benefit that you and guys like you are involved, because you're obviously extremely, and I'm going to pick my words very carefully here, you're extremely educated in aspects of strength, because we haven't even touched upon your own background in, forget arm wrestling, in strength, the foundation of strength, you understand clearly as well. I mean, people won't know yet, and we'll get onto it, but you were talking about a 200 kilo bench presser. You know, you've got a foundation in strength. So
all creatine, no steroids.
All creatine, baby. Yeah, there you go. And a 200 kilo bench. So we'll get onto that in the next episode, ladies and gents. Please, before I forget, please put comments. Let us know what you want to talk to Ray about. We're going to be back on here again soon. We're going to be doing more shows with Ray. As I say, you will catch more of Ray on the Fix as well. And the coaching element, the coaching aspect that Ray's spoken about, I mean, there's a vast array of coaching, of techniques, of all the elements that he's spoken about on the Voice of Arm Wrestling. Please get yourself over to there. Invaluable. Particularly for the new guys in the sport. You'll learn so much from this guy. He's on there with various people that you've heard referenced in this interview, Vlad, Yanis Amelins and others. So get on there, hear from this man, hear from the people that he has worked extensively with, and it will progress your game. Ray, mate, awesome first little insight into you there, mate, and there's many more to come. Thanks for coming on, brother. There it is, right there. That's what he's working with. Ladies and gents, stay safe, stay stoic, mother fluffers.
Stay strong and love arm wrestling.
Take it easy, Pete. Bye-bye.